This episode of Lobbing Scorchers is sponsored by Full Pull Wines, a Seattle-based seller. Not only are they a local company, but they've been supporting independent Seattle soccer media since 2011 and are run by Sounders fans. They offer the best boutique wines in the world to members of their mailing list with special focus on their home, the Pacific Northwest. Their model is simple. 1, they email compelling offers. 2, you request bottles that sound appealing. 3, your wine arrives at their Soto warehouse and is ready for pickup or shipping. Their Soto tasting room is also open to the public. If you're interested in joining their mailing list or learning more about them, visit fullpullwines.com. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 61 of Lobbing Scorchers. This is Ari Lillianwall. I got producer Noah here with me. And Noah, we got a real special show this evening. How are you feeling?
Man, they only make moments like these every once in a while. Every once in a while, it doesn't matter what else is going on in Sounders land, but a week is so special on so many fronts that nothing can take this joy away from me, Ari. Nothing.
It's a great day. It's a great day here at Lobbing Scorchers. We're very excited to record this one. Very special show as we have a Sounders dub pod and an LAFC L Pod in the same show. And, you know, not just, we don't do an LAFC L Pod every time they take an L, but they took an L in another final. So we're gonna break that down and just have a good time with that. And the Seattle Sounders, they also went to Allianz Field, took all 3 points off Minnesota United, 3-2 victory. Jordan Morris and Albert Rusnak were back at it. Jackson Ragen scored a really nice goal. So we're going to dive into both of those games. We are going to hit our agenda check. We are going to take your questions, and we are going to jump around MLS and talk about some other results from match day 29. So yeah, excited to get into all that. But before we begin that, we did want to say thank you to everyone who came to the Sounder at Heart 1-year Independence Anniversary Celebration event at Fast Fashion in Soto. Noah and I both made the trip down there for that and got to meet a lot of you that support Sounder at Heart and listen to our show. That was awesome. It was really great to meet everyone that we hung out with there. We got to go up and give our little spiel, and we did a live agenda check, which was pretty fun. Yeah, no, it was great to meet everybody there, and I appreciate like all the kind words that everyone gave us, and just cool to meet people who listen to the show and support the show. And I got some good feedback too, like people were telling us the type of stuff that they enjoy, and that, like, you know, what they think makes good content. So just all around good times at Fast Fashion. And Noah, I really hope we get to do something again like that soon.
Yeah, I was one, blown away by the fact that Jeremiah trusted us with his corporate card to rack up the charges on pizza and drinks. But 2, that everyone who came up to us was so happy and excited. And when I asked how many people knew who we were, when like everyone in the room raised their hand, I was shocked. I was like,
yeah, it was more
our
than
small
I thought.
little podcast, our tiny little show.
Yeah, no, that was awesome. Also, great to meet the hosts of the Cooler Guilds. Really great show covering Seattle Reign. So definitely tune into that. Really awesome podcast. That's also under the Sounder at Heart podcast network. Speaking of which, good segue. Lobbing Scorchers is a part of the Sounder at Heart podcast network. If you want to get the best independent Seattle soccer coverage, consider supporting us by going to sounderatheart.com/LS. Scroll down to subscribe and support to get 30 days completely free. Every sign up through our link helps support and grow this show. We have a goal right now, folks. We're at 27 subs on sounderatheart.com/LS. Our goal, we just want one. It's
just
the road
one more
to 28. I know there's one person out there that will go to sounderatheart.com/LS and help us on the long and harrowing road from 27 to 28.
Who will be our Yamar?
You're the Yamar sub. If you're the 28th year, that's a special distinction that no other sub would get. But with that, we are going to read through the names real quick of all of our paid subs because we love and appreciate you guys that much. Kenneth Wade, Joey Pasquinelli, David McCoy, Owen Mason, Dan Pavato, Samuel Fout, Ian Mitchell, Christopher Smith, Norm Bonnier, Thomas Martin, Greg Hoker, Chris Maley, Andy Hill, Mike Lentini, Nate Bonnier, David Rodriguez, my nephews, CJ and Miles Marinakis, Mark Ottinger, Zach Heckman, David Pope, Brian Morton, Claire Berger, Robert Sink, Tyler Nakatsu, Steve Hewson, and Choska. Thank you all so much. You're much appreciated. sounderatheart.com/LS. Someone become our Yamar. And also, if you're listening to this and you haven't done so yet, subscribe to the Lobbing Scorchers YouTube. The road to 450 is already done.
Yeah.
I just looked at it. We're at 450. So we literally got from the road to 400 to 450 without even having to plug it.
Yeah.
It's so that means this is exciting though. This is the road to 500, which I've been waiting for this one. I want really one of the things I want most in life, Noah, is just 1,000 subs on the Lobbing Scorchers YouTube.
That would be pretty
And,
sick.
Yeah, we're well on our way to getting there, and we appreciate once again the new audience that's discovered us on YouTube. It seems like we've infiltrated a crowd that didn't know about us before, and a lot of people from other fan bases, which I think is cool.
Yeah.
Like, we're a Seattle show, and most of our listeners and viewers, I would imagine, are Sounders people. But it's been kind of fun, like, seeing people in the comments that are fans of other teams, but still tune in and like to start dialogue with us. We welcome, even if we clown on your favorite team, which is likely that we have and will at some point. We welcome you into our community, and you can clown on us and on the Sounders if you want.
Yeah.
It's all good natured here.
Don't worry, there will be equal opportunity hating at some point.
There definitely will be, but thank you to everyone who has subbed to us on YouTube. All you have to do is press a little button. It's really
free.
easy. All right, no, let's get into this dub pod.
Let's do it.
Good. This is a good dub. It's a good dub for the Sounders. 3-2 at Allianz Field over Minnesota United. Pretty good performance, I thought. Let's do our lineup reaction to start it off. And there's really not much to say here. It's just nothing different. This is how they've been rolling with Paul Rothrock as a first choice starter, which
leading
I
the
think
team.
That's old news at this point. But again, until De La Vega is fully fit and ready to go, this is probably how they're going to line it up as a first choice. But we're going to get to some De La Vega takes because he played in this game, and he played a pretty prominent role. I thought this was the best De La Vega game so far. So we'll get to that. But first, let's do our goal breakdowns. Seattle took the lead in the 12th minute. Jordan Morris stayed hot. Really bad pass by Jefferson Diaz, who the story of Jefferson Diaz in this game was a tragic and harrowing one. He made the giveaway on this play that led to Seattle's goal. He tried just an ill-advised switch. I'm not really sure like why he attempted to. He was like deep in his own end, but like just trying a switch that was not necessary. And I think it was Christian who picked it off pretty easily, won the header straight to Obed. And then from there, it was on. Great pass from Obed, threaded that ball right through. Really just great synergy right there between Obed and Jordan Morris for Jordan to make the run, Obed to recognize it, hit the pass perfectly through, perfectly weighted for Jordan to run onto, creates a total like breakaway one-on-one opportunity with Jordan and Dane St. Clair. And with the form that Jordan's in right now, he's not missing that. That's 10 league goals for him this season, 7 assists for Obed. And that's when you're on the road. And Allianz is a hostile environment. That's a tough place to play for however much the Loons have been struggling lately. Not an easy place to play. And if you can score in the first 10 to 15 minutes of the game in a road game in a tough environment like that, you have absolutely passed your first test. So credit to Seattle for scoring 12 minutes into the game. Unfortunately, they could not keep the lead. So, I think after you take that lead, your next test to pass becomes getting the game to halftime still in the lead. Mm-hmm. And it looked like they were not going to be able to manage that because Minnesota United got a penalty kick in the 24th minute. There was a lot of people complaining about this call. I mean, this is a really bad challenge by Yamar. Just unnecessary. And I mean, I don't know. To me, it looked like he kicked the shit out of the guy in the back of the leg.
If Nuhu had done that, no one would have been complaining. Let's be real.
Exactly. And like, also, it's guys, like I know people were like doing the gymnastics to try and talk about how pro referees has done Seattle wrong, like in this situation. But it's like for me, a play like this always comes down to like risk reward. what are you risking by going into the challenge versus what are you gaining, like even if you get your preferred outcome, which he was just trying to clear the ball, but he went into it wildly. He kicked the shit out of the guy, and it's not worth it. He should not have gone into that challenge, especially up a goal on the road.
Yeah.
So just like not a good challenge. I've got really no issue with that being given as a PK, and then Kelvin Yeboah converts the penalty. So 1-1. But credit to Seattle for a very good response. Go ahead goal just 4 minutes after that. Jackson Ragen, noted DP number 9, Jackson Ragen, with a great header, but another just absolutely perfect assist by Albert Rusnak here. What's really impressive about some of these assists that he's been racking up lately, I think, is the range that he's showing. He's ranging way out there. He's got like Steph Curry range on these, and to be able, like, that's a very lethal attribute because I think, like, so for the one in Leagues Cup that he hit to Rothrock, that was from way out there too. There's been a few of them where he's just way out there. I think, defenders they're not really expecting him to be able to hit it like that well from that far away. And I think they figure, if he does put it in there, it's from far enough out where it could get cleared, but he's just hitting them dead on. And this was another example. Definitely very, very good finish by Jackson Ragen, though. There's some debate on this play, if he was trying to cross it to Jordan or if he was trying to head it on target. I'm going to choose to believe he was trying to head that on target because, it was a awesome finish. And I think I'm going to get to this in the agenda check, but we talked a little bit earlier this season, and I think even last season, about how the next phase of Jackson Ragen's development is using his size on set pieces or service into the box in this case. And he's gotten a couple goals in the last couple weeks. I know the first one that he got in Leagues Cup against the Galaxy, that wasn't a header, but it was still nice to see. It's nice to see him be an attacking threat. Like, I really feel like that's a facet of his game that he can develop, and really that's what can take him to the next level, I think, as a player. So just seeing him finish a header like that was awesome. Great finish. Minnesota United equalize again, though, in the 56th minute, so after halftime. So Kelvin Yeboah made a good run on this play, and it seemed to me like once he was in on goal, Yamar was the guy on him again, and he couldn't really contest it the way he might have otherwise because he was on a yellow. Yeah. So he couldn't really. I think he actually made the right play there by not doing anything that could have dog-sowed him or got him the second yellow. It's tough. Like, those are moments where oftentimes you see a defender kind of make the wrong decision. And so I think he did make the right call, but it led to a nice finish by Yeboah, who that was his MLS debut.
Dude, he's nasty.
He's pretty nasty.
He's one I'm going to be tracking.
Yeah, no, like, exactly. That's what I was thinking. I was like, okay, this guy has my attention. He won the penalty, he converted the penalty, and then he scored that goal. You could tell, it was funny, he was like, he hasn't played with any of these guys yet, and there's a lot of times where it looked like he was trying to make runs and they weren't seeing him, or they didn't have it timed up correctly, and he was getting annoyed at them. But like, they'll get that understanding, and I think that's definitely, if there's a positive for the Loons from this game, it's that they really, since the Reynoso debacle, since Reynoso went missing,
since he was doing drug deals down in Colombia or whatever,
we don't know where he is to this day. Yeah. But they haven't really been able to get their attack back to producing like it was when they were built around Reynoso. So definitely a good performance from that guy. But then Seattle gets the game winner, 76th minute. Rusnak again. The Loons couldn't fully clear the ball into the box. He gets it at the top of the area. Just a beautiful shot. Great goal.
Up for MLS Goal of the Week.
Up for MLS Goal of the Week. So I think you can still vote for Rusnak if you haven't yet. But the guy is just he's been in ballistic form for the last couple months now. Him and Jordan both, and it continued in this game. Both the assist that he had and the goal he had were world class. There's a world class assist and then a fantastic finish in a big spot for the game winner. Seattle takes all 3 points at Allianz Field. All right, now I'm going to hit my rapid fire takeaways.
Let's do it.
And then you can let me know what you think of these. Takeaway number one, It's funny. No one from the anti-Rusnak brigade was in my mentions after this one.
Yeah, where they at?
It's
Ari?
funny how that works. Like every time Seattle loses, they come for me. Anytime he has a great game like this, they don't say anything. I don't know.
They're silent.
I don't know. I'm not trying to start anything. It's just an observation.
Well, I mean, I did post a little meme that was like "Silence Rusnak haters." A designated player is talking, and I did get an essay in my mentions just straight up about it.
Like this is still a hot button issue. There was a Sounder at Heart commenter who a lot of people just disagree with my Rusnak takes. That I think everyone rates players differently, so no one's necessarily right or wrong, but I do rate him, so that's my opinion. And if you disagree with that, you're welcome to keep flaming my mentions about it every time the Sounders lose. But the thing that I would ask is if you also show up when they win and when he plays well. Let's do our De La Vega takes. De La Vega played. He had like a pretty good shift in the second half, or like good size shift, and I came out of this as excited about him, I think, as I've been. I thought he looked really good, and in particular, I didn't hit on it in the recap, but the ball that he put in to Jordan on that breakaway at the very end, that showed to me like what this guy can do. Like that's great vision on that. Another great run by Jordan. It really should have been a goal. It was kind of a crazy play. Jordan got the breakaway saved, and then it deflected to De La Vega. And honestly, man, I wanted him to chip it.
I was on my feet. Yeah. Dude, I was on my feet.
I wanted him to chip it as soon as it... That's when you have them the most scrambling and out and unbalanced, right?
Yeah.
So if you have it would be a really hard shot, but like a designated player like that, I think you got to just hit that first time. Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't know. It would have been an insane shot if he had done that. I think I selfishly just wanted to see him do it. But instead, I mean, I'm not necessarily faulting him for what he did, which was take the ball down and try and line up a better shot, because he had St. Clair scrambling again. But he just didn't. He was not able to like get a clean look at it, and St. Clair was able to save it. And then before Atencio could run onto it, Minnesota got it cleared. But that's a good sequence, and it was just nice to see him healthy, playing, and then central to a dangerous sequence like that. I mean, what did you think of De La Vega?
I enjoyed it. I mean, I think, again, something that we have both kind of cemented as our signifier for good and great and, top tier DP is when they actually make an impact on the game. We saw it with Obed. We were like, okay, we see the vision. Once he gets to the next level, like we can co-sign this. So I'm just waiting for it to get there. Did he get a goal, like the sickest goal I've ever seen in my life, robbed the other week? Yes. Was that almost another goal right there too? Yes. But like, I see the vision. Once he gets on that stat sheet, once he puts that ball in the back of the net, like I'm ready to go hype mode. I'm ready to go rate him, up there with the best, but I'm waiting a little bit. I'm trying to be cautious, Ari. I'm scared. I'm a little nervous.
Yeah, I mean, okay. Did we talk about the BWP's new take on the last show, or was I talking to people at Fast Fashion about that?
I think that might have been at Fast Fashion, which you guys should have been at. So if you missed it,
so like the national pundits have actually been covering Seattle quite a bit lately, and Bradley Wright Phillips, I know we were talking about how he was giving Seattle more love. But he writes columns for us at MLSsoccer.com, and he wrote one the other day that was about like it was like summer signings that can make the biggest impact from around the league. And he gave De La Vega like an honorable mention of like, he's not a new signing, but he's him coming back and getting healthy could function like a new signing for Seattle. And BWP, who I don't always agree with his takes, but I definitely respect his ball knowledge. I mean, the guy is one of the highest scoring MLS strikers of all time, played the game for a really long time. So when he's talking about a player, I at least listen to him.
Right.
And he was saying, based on what he's seen from De La Vega, he rates him as a player. He thinks that he looks very dynamic in the small sample size that he's seen. And his ultimate takeaway was, if De La Vega gets back down the stretch here and healthy and in form, he said he doesn't think anyone's going to want to play Seattle in the playoffs. So we'll see if that pans out. But that is that's not my take. That's a take from the national pundit class. So I'll be interested to see if there's anything to that. But I do think it's worth noting that an analyst like BWP, who played the game for as long as he did at as high level as he did, that his takeaway from watching De La Vega, even in that limited sample size, is that he rates him as a player and thinks that he could be a game-changing impact.
Thank you for listening to the Sounder at Heart Podcast Network, which now includes Nos Arietes, Lobbing, Scorchers, and the Cooler Guild. We've been independent since August of 2023, but need your support to make sure it continues. Although this podcast is free, it's only made possible by your continued support. Memberships start as low as $25 a year, which not only helps make podcasts like this one happen, but also gets you access to everything we produce. If you're able to support us at higher levels, starting at $75 a year, you gain access to a host of other perks, most notably entry into our members-only Discord, where the smartest, funniest, and most engaged commenters share their thoughts and ideas. To find out more, just visit sounderatheart.com and click the subscribe button in the top right corner. Thanks for listening.
I mean, hey, BWP, I wasn't familiar with your game, my guy. I didn't know.
Well, and
he's turned from hater to lover real
exactly.
quick. I think he listens. Bradley,
this is the
come
same,
on the pod.
Yeah, exactly. This is the same BWP that he had the agenda about how they were fraudulent and they were only beating up on bad teams. So we'll keep tracking the national pundit class and see what their takes are on the team down the stretch. Nuhu, wanted to talk about Nuhu. I thought Nuhu was excellent in this game. I thought this was one of my definitely my favorite Nuhu game of the season. God, he had this one move that in the first half. I'm interested if you remember this one, but so he was defending this guy one-on-one out wide, and the guy was trying the move of he was trying to push the ball around him and then run around Nuhu and run into space. And Nuhu just knew exactly what the guy was going to do. And he knew what the guy was going to do before I think the guy even knew what he was going to do. And he was at the spot that the guy was trying to run to, within 0.2 seconds of the guy trying the move, and he just stonewalled him right there. And the guy, it was just like a brick wall, and it went out for a goal kick, shielded him right off it. Just excellent defending on that play, and really all game he was on it with his defense. I know he got a early yellow card, so people will dock him for that. But I thought aside from that, he was pretty much flawless, and he played in the pass that led to the De La Vega through ball to Jordan. So anyway, anytime Nuhu has a good game, I
like to highlight it.
I'm trying to point it out because people act mind blown at what his value is. That's his value right there.
Yeah.
That was a great game. And honestly,
I mean, he had 80% passing too. I know that's a big. I think the forward movement and accurate. He had one accurate long ball, but his passing was still pretty accurate. And I thought exactly what you said. He locked him down pretty well. I'm giving him his flowers here. All right, folks.
I mean, okay. I think there's no way that you could watch that game and not give him his.
No,
he was one of the best players on the field. Last takeaway. I mean, the Loons are pretty bad.
And they're getting better though.
I guess a little bit, but I'm just kind of disappointed in them because, I thought this new coach that they hired, I thought they cooked on that hire, which I think they still might have, but they just really they were up in third or fourth place for a while even without Reynoso, and they were playing Robin Lott at the 10, and it was this kind of fun little story of Timo Pukki and not really producing and being injured, and Reynoso going missing, and then they were still punching above their weight. But they've just really tailspun. And this was, and I don't bring this up to take away from Seattle's victory at all, because, you play who's in front of you and you got to get the dub. They got the dub. It was a good dub. Mm-hmm. But more just as someone who was following Minnesota United earlier in the season and was impressed with what they were doing. I mean, their defense is a little rough right now.
Yeah, I think I see them as a potential, like, and I know this is an LA Galaxy podcast apparently, so, but like LA Galaxy-esque in the sense that they're building this really good attack. Like the pieces are there in the attack, especially with this new
now
signing, dude.
Yeboah,
Yeboah is nasty. Like I'm excited to watch him play.
He had like some swag and juice to him too. Yeah, he's pretty fun to watch. Yeah.
I hope he doesn't lose that, and I hope that the Loons, keep that up. But like, their defense is abysmal. It was LA Galaxy of last year and 2 years ago.
So
it's S.
I forgot to mention that Jefferson Diaz, the guy who hit the switch that led to Seattle's first goal, was also the guy that got beasted by Jackson Ragen on the header. And then on the game winner, it was a great shot by Rusnak, but like he should not have that much space and time to line that up. Mm-hmm. Like a player of his quality, you're asking to get bammed on if you give him that much time and space.
Yeah. I do have a question about this game a little bit, because I was thinking about it in as a runway for this next match against LAFC, and how, okay, you're up early, you tie, up again, back to a draw, and then finishing out the game in the later half of the match. For a resilience mentally, or maybe even just like game plan wise, how do you think that's going to play into this LA Galaxy or LAFC game? Sorry, Galaxy on the brain. At Starfire.
I mean, I definitely think not just how they closed out the game, but just the result and the performance in general. It gives you a boost, and it was necessary psychologically after how Leagues Cup ended. For sure. But I think there's something to what you're saying as far as this LAFC game might be a game where you get punched in the mouth. Maybe you go ahead and you give up that equalizer, or they go ahead and you have to come back. So I think a road game like this, where it took like grinding it out and mental fortitude and managing the game late in the game with the lead, where you're going to have to absorb pressure against a desperate opponent, like that was good reps to get in before an elimination game like this. So I do think it definitely doesn't hurt to it's much better to go into this LAFC game on the heels of a game like that, especially with how it played out, than it would be if they were going into it like off the Leagues Cup game where they just got destroyed by LAFC.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited to see how they use this momentum. I was listening to Nos Arietes, shout out to our boys, and they were talking about how the focus that Brian Schmetzer seemed to have was, let's get kicking back on the regular season games, keep our position, bring it up, try and fight for that home playoff game, and use that as momentum, put all of the chips on the table against LAFC, which the more that I've kind of stewed on it, and I guess we can get to this in the game preview, but I'm feeling more confident.
I definitely feel better about it than I did after watching LAFC wax Seattle in Leagues Cup at Lumen Field. Yeah. But I mean, I don't know. We'll talk about that in the preview, but it's going to be a good game. All right, let's hit this agenda check. I got 4 written down. You can tell me if I'm forgetting anything. The first one I got is my Jordan Morris, Albert Rusnak 1-2 punch tops in MLS agenda, which I think I declared it dead. I don't know if I declared it dead on the show. I declared it dead for sure in my own head, just because I watched a Columbus Crew game and saw Cucho and Diego Rossi.
I think you might have said that on the pod.
Okay, I did. So, I was like, ooh, okay. That, it wasn't really like a strong or passionate agenda to begin with.
You were lobbing a scorcher with that one.
I was lobbing a scorcher with that one, and I test ran it, and I don't believe in it. But I mean, they were balling again in this game. The agenda, it's like there's like a faint pulse for this one. Yeah. After they have to keep doing it, but I mean, they're both really good in this game again, and both got on the stat sheet again. Rusnak got 2 more goal contributions. Jordan should have had 2 more goals. Now he's up to 10 goals. So I mean, Cucho and Diego Rossi are on their own level right now. Bouanga and Bogus are certainly on a much higher level, I think, than anyone on Seattle has operated on this year. So you don't need to flame me. I definitely understand all that. But they are continuing to play really, really well. So there's that.
I think there's an argument to say that if you're looking at duos in the MLS Ooh, I said the MLS. Oh, God. That's push-ups for me. But in MLS, period, I think that you could rate them. I think they would be, maybe they're not in the top tier. Maybe they're in the second tier or third tier. But like,
second tier.
I think, I'm just saying, I agree with you. I think that they have the ability to continue to pump and play even better, especially when De La Vega gets back.
There's more legs to it than people are giving it credit for. That's what I'll say.
100%.
Like, we got one YouTube I need to stop reading these.
Yeah, stop reading the comments.
We got one YouTube comment that was like, LOL, best 1-2 in the league, like ridiculous take.
Someone did hit that to you in person as well at the...
it's not that ridiculous. Look at the stats from the last 2 months and then tell me how ridiculous it is.
There we go.
This is a throwback one, but a few weeks ago I had a Jackson Ragen worry meter. I think it was after the Chicago game where he got mossed by that guy, and felt like I was just seeing too many individual mistakes. There's the red card; he conceded a penalty this year. The Chicago game I thought was pretty rough, and I was like, I was quietly a little concerned, like not panicking, but quietly a little concerned. But that's drastically diminished in my opinion. He's played much, much better over the last month or two, really. And I think him establishing himself as like an aerial threat in the box, like a goal dangerous CB, that's a potentially very, very significant development. If this team adds that to it, like, that would be really good. Yeah,
I mean, he's a Michigan man through and through, all right? He knew Big Ten season was back, and he said, you know what? I'm going to score some points, all right? Michigan plays this weekend. He said, I'm playing the weekend before. This isn't preseason, boys. We are upping the score. We're upping the agenda. Shout out to our boy, Jackson Ragen. Worry meter destroyed.
It's pretty destroyed.
Best CB in the goddamn league, Ari.
Ooh, that's a good agenda. We might have to change it to that.
Yeah, okay. I mean, that header was nasty,
That really was. That was one of the better CB goals I've seen this season.
Yeah.
Like, again, like taking into account the distance that Rusnak hits that ball into the box from, and then winning the header and placing it where he did. I mean, just a great play.
There we go.
All right, I call this one the Sounder at Heart staff anti-Nuhu agenda, of which you are a purveyor, but there's also several other purveyors that we frequently debate
I'm a
this
contractor,
topic.
Ari.
You're one of the purveyors.
I'm a contract purveyor, all right?
Anyway, diminished. Like I said, we already went over it, but... Nuhu was great in this game. And really, I feel like, I don't know, we haven't really been talking about this or him all that much these last few weeks. I think that's a sign that 100%. He is playing pretty well. But
I think after the whole drama, he really came back and has been playing a lot better. I mean, you haven't heard me complaining about him. I think in the last few episodes, I've been praising him more than I've been down on him. And like, you know, I'm not going to lie. He's been playing really great.
Yeah, no, he was great in this game. And then my final one is the $10 million for Obed or Craig Weib's hang up the phone agenda strengthened.
20 mil.
20, 30. I mean, the price just keeps going up. His assist to Jordan.
Dude, it was like a mirror image of that first assist from this season where he just like bounced that beautiful ball through. I know it was a little different, but like just mentally in my mind, I felt that same feeling of like, dude, this guy, he's like a laser guided missile. Like he can slot that ball in. Oh God, 7 assists this season. That's like, that would be great output for him at 18 or 9. He's 19 now, right? Yeah.
That would be a great output for the whole season. He could very feasibly hit double digit assists this year.
I wouldn't be shocked.
From a player that plays his position. That is fantastic. I mean, that's like that's the type of output JP was putting up like in his heyday, you know?
Yeah.
So just again, the kid, every week he does something new that he just keeps ascending.
I got to ask you, because I know this one's a tough one. Would you rather sell him on, let him have his big dreams in the Prem or in Europe, period, or do you throw as much money as possible to get him to stay?
I would sell him on, man. I would sell him on. I think this team needs to do more outbound transfers. Like that's part of the reason that they haven't had as much roster flexibility lately is because there hasn't like been any of those.
Yeah, true.
So like if they get a offer, the bag for Obed, I would definitely take, as much as it like would suck to have him not play for Seattle anymore. It's just in principle, like I want to see the team do more of that stuff. Like I think that's like how you can really increase flexibility and bolster your roster. And this is the exact type of player you can do that stuff with. And also, I think it's doing right by him because, I mean, even out of my own curiosity and just for his sake, I'd be curious to see like what level he can really go to and still thrive, still be a potentially elite player, which he's looking like an elite MLS player right now. Like, I don't know, maybe that's like a little early on that, but like I haven't really seen much this season to dissuade me from that. I think he's been playing great all year. So.
Yeah, I don't think any MLS team would be unhappy to have an Obed on their roster. Like I am excited to see. My question too, to like add on to this a little bit, I'm going to drag this out because I think it's an interesting topic. Him going to Liga MX, is that a better move than like him going to like I don't know where else he might go, like maybe like a Norwegian league or like somewhere else in Europe, but maybe like lower tier?
Right, I see what you're saying.
Because how much better is Liga MX for moving a player to Europe than MLS?
I mean, if they bust out the bag, first of all, like then I think you got to take it.
Yeah.
But also, I think the thing to factor in with that is I think he really wants to go to Liga MX. That's like
fair.
That's like his dream is to play in that league. He talked about that when he made the switch to Mexico at the international level.
Right.
So that's why I think if I had to put a guess right now on what the suitors are going to be and what league will eventually make an offer that Seattle would at least have to very seriously consider accepting, I bet it's going to be a Liga MX club. What I think would be cool, man, is like especially just watching Leagues Cup and seeing the bigger teams like Club America and Monterrey. I don't know if any of them.
I know Monterrey had potentially
like
had a
that
bid.
Would be a sick opportunity for him.
Yeah.
Like to go to one of those teams where they're. I mean, Club America, like I already knew that they were the most popular club like on the continent, like fan base wise.
Yeah.
But like watching those Leagues Cup games just really like their following is crazy.
Right.
Like so I think Obed like going to a team like that would be super cool to see for him. And I think he could thrive there. Like I think he could go to a team like that and like play.
Yeah.
You know?
No, I agree. I think he would be a really useful tool in Mexico, and I think he could have a great career there. I think that it would be a good stepping stone for him to Europe. I don't think it would be any better than MLS, but I think what it will do is put him in the crosshairs for the national team. And I think that playing on the national team would give him a better chance of going over to Europe. And honestly, I think that would be so sick because he could genuinely, like in this phase of the Mexican national team being so like, let's just say a dog shit. Like the fact that they could have a super good young prospect that comes to Liga MX, just switched over, is like clearly like very interested in this project, build him up. Like, dude, that could be such a sick story.
And he talked about that too when he was talking about why he made the switch. I think they're doing a generational switch.
Yeah.
So I think it would be cool to see him be a part of that. And I do think, I was thinking, like maybe this is aiming a little too high for now, but like Bundesliga at some point, like I could see it.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Mexican gold generation.
Yeah,
Obed Vargas
could be. That's a good one to keep in mind for future agendas. All right, we got some questions, Noah. We got questions.
Yeah, let's hit questions
What
here.
What do we got?
Well, thank you all for your questions while I frantically pull these questions up because I'm hopelessly unprepared sometimes.
There's not all that many this week.
Yeah, but
for a dub pod, there's always fewer.
Right.
People really like to blow my mentions up after they lose, but we got a few, so let's dive in.
Yeah, okay, this one comes from Mike. Good win. All goal scorers had a good game. Fry a little shaky, brushing off the rust, ? How hard to see how gassed everyone was towards the end of the game while they were winning. The agent experience won out, but for how much longer? I guess maybe this is a roster build question, but let's just hit the Fry part because I think the Fry take is the spiciest.
Yeah, he might have been a little rusty. I don't know. I mean, one of the goals was a penalty, And then the other goal, I really don't think he could have done anything. There was, I think what you're probably referencing is there was a couple plays where there was a long service coming into the box and he looked like a little hesitant coming off his line.
Right.
Maybe there's like a couple where he like punched when maybe he should have just caught it type stuff. But overall, I didn't come out of this game like super concerned about the goalkeeping. Did you?
No, I don't think the goalkeeping was really an issue. I mean, one of them was a PK. Fry's not a PK saving goalkeeper. That's like not his talent. I think maybe if you had Andy T in there, maybe one of those goals potentially on a fraction gets saved. Just the way he plays, we've talked about it. Like Fry will just sit and take that space no matter what. He's not moving, and then Andy T is going to just run at you like a bull. Maybe, who knows? Maybe they score another. You know, I think that's kind of the thing with goalkeeping is they're both pretty talented, but I think I still rate Fry number one over Andy T. So I don't think I really saw the shakiness. I think he had a fine performance. I don't think it was anything out of this world though. This next one comes from TIE Fighter. Should Seattle hit LAFC with the 3-5-2 on Wednesday? Honestly, I feel like Seattle isn't far from being really good, but LAFC tactical setup is hard to counter with our 4-2-3-1.
See, I think the way that you conventionally think about these tactics is a little out the window at a Starfire game.
Yep.
Like it's going to change. It changes the way both teams have to play. And it makes the idea that what's kind of cool about it is it makes the idea of like sitting back and bunkering or playing defensively. You literally can't because it's too narrow and the pace of play is way too fast.
Yep.
So like, I think that is a contributing factor to why Seattle has been so hard to beat there over the years is because they know how to play at this field, and visiting opponents, they can't. It's kind of satisfying, honestly, because they can't do that. They can't do what they do at Lumen, which is just sit back, try and absorb pressure and hit Seattle on the counter. That's what every team that has ever come to Lumen Field has essentially done. And some of them do it to great effect, such as the Portland Timbers and LAFC. But at Starfire, man, like you can't do that. And it should make for like a very entertaining game, if nothing else.
Yeah, no, I don't know what they'll do. I don't know what will be the best way to line it up, but I think that this is the best opportunity to beat LAFC simply because their tactic that is cracked as hell and can beat the Sounders no matter what. You can play it on this field. You will get scored on though. And it's just not the place to play that. And it's definitely not with all of the fans that are going to be there. I mean, I think this thing is basically sold out. And like the fans are on top of you, breathing down your neck. The fact that we're literally like, I'm gonna be able to throw a fit and scream in the stands, and Giroux is gonna be able to hear me in earshot, like just from where my seats are. Like I could call him like, I don't know, French, like derogatory, and he would be able to hear me. Like I just think that all of the atmospheric things, the fact that I don't think LAFC has ever played at Starfire, have they?
No, I don't think so.
Like you really can't understand that field until you've played on it, and I think that with that said, whatever formation you play, you have a way better chance of taking on LAFC with their bunker tactic. This next one comes from Sounder Vibes. Will JMO pass Raul on goals this season? I think that's just across the board, goals all time.
I'm not exactly sure what they're both at off the top of my head, but I think they're pretty close. Like Raul's like 80 something, right? And Jordan's at 80.
I think he's at 80, and 86 is Raul.
Okay,
or 79 and 86, something around there. There's like 6 or 7.
I don't know if he'll catch him this season, but he'll probably get pretty close.
Yeah. It is possible if they play in like if he scores this next game and then maybe plays in an Open Cup final plus maybe 1 or 2 playoff games, I think that there's a possibility. That said, I don't know. I don't think I'm super confident that it'll be this season, but I can tell you, as long as he doesn't explode his knees, he's going to pass him at some point. Yeah. There's no way he won't do that. This next one comes from Zombri. How far away is Albert Rusnak from being the second best Sounders DP of all time based on production, assuming Nico is a clear number 1?
Ooh. Well, it depends if you mean stat sheet production or trophy case production. I mean, so you're like the competition.
I think Oba would be in there.
Oba would be in there. Dempsey obviously would be in there.
So just to put it in perspective,
in an Open Cup,
Oba had 30 total goal contributions one season. That's the highest, like, goals plus assists in a single season. They played way less games than we play now. Albert's at 19, I believe, and I think Nico's best season was like 20 something. I don't remember.
I think the discussion over like best DP, best signing has got to include more than stat sheet though. Like I take winning heavily and your influence on winning, and that's why Nico is like far and away the clear number one. And Nico also was central to the Champions League trophy, which Rusnak was too, to be fair. So that's a feather in his cap. But I think like it's almost like more by default just because there's not like that many to pick from.
Right.
And I don't know. That's an interesting debate. I'm going to have to think about that one.
Yeah. I think you can definitely rate him in the top 5 right now, hands down. Stat sheet production, statistically speaking, he's up there with the best of them. I think that you
have to take into account Champions League.
Yeah, but his legacy with fans too is pretty rocky. Like I don't think there was ever a Nico debate. Like, was there ever a Nico debate? I don't remember one happening.
I mean, he was just so clearly like one of the best players in the league right away that there was just no debate to be had. Whereas Rusnak came in and the team struggled quite a bit. And when the team is struggling, invariably the highest paid players are going to be under the microscope.
They'll take heat. Yeah. Well, that's a really good question, though. We should think about that for agenda check coming forward. I think we're going to leave it there with the questions as we cooked pretty good on that. Thank you all for your questions. At Ari Lillianwall on Twitter. Yep. Drop your love, your hate, everything in his mentions.
Thank you all, as always, to everyone who submitted. All right. Noah, it's time. We're going to debut a brand new segment on the show right now.
Oh, no.
Ready? Okay.
Let's do it.
It's called the LAFC Choke Again celebration segment. That's right, folks. Columbus Crew are Leagues Cup champions after blitzing LAFC 3-1 at Lower.com Field. It wasn't quite that lopsided. LAFC had tied it after Olivier Giroud scored a second-half equalizer, but Cucho scored again in second-half stoppage time, and then LAFC was throwing everyone forward on like the last play of the game, and Columbus got one more breakaway, Jason Russell-Rowe with the finish to make it a 3-1 final. All right, I'm going to do my rapid fire takeaways on this, and I want to preface this by by saying that we both appreciate the LAFC fans that have been commenting and like listening to the show. We appreciate that everyone's got a good sense of humor about everything.
Yeah,
and like honestly. There's no amount of clowning that we could do on LAFC that LAFC can't throw right back at us, given the fact that LAFC is 7-0-2 in their last 9 against Seattle. Now, we'll see what happens in this Open Cup game. Seattle has a chance to flip that script a little bit, in which case, God, like this is one of the things I was going to bring up, but this is such a good opportunity for Seattle to like twist the knife right here,
100%.
Knocking them out again. And you have like a good opportunity to do it because they're coming off a super deflating and emotional loss on a really short turnaround at Starfire. So like this is a golden opportunity for Seattle. I don't know if they will capitalize on it based on their recent track record, but it is lining up quite nicely. But anyway, the point is, we're going to clown on LAFC a little bit here. It's time.
Don't worry, guys. I just bought me and Ari matching Columbus Crew Leagues Cup champion shirts that we will wear on the next podcast.
Shout out to the Crew and Wilfred Nancy. We Wilfred Nancy here on Lobbing Scorchers, best coach in the league. The Crew own LAFC. As much as LAFC own Seattle, the Crew own LAFC
Correct.
in the same way.
Yeah, this is the chain of command.
They can't beat them. They can't get by them.
No.
They lost an MLS Cup to them last year. They played him at their own building a couple weeks ago, lost 5-1, and got handled pretty comfortably at Lower.com Field. Again, it's their bogey team. Like, Steve C sees Wilfred Nancy and he cowers in fear and shame. And
Pissing
regret.
down his leg.
He can't do anything about it. LAFC also love to choke in finals.
Yep.
It's their greatest passion in life and in sport.
The only time they didn't was against another team who
That
loves to choke in finals.
And they barely won that.
Yeah.
Let's be real. Like, Gareth Bale bailed them out, no pun intended. But like, it's just, it never gets old, does it?
Never.
It never gets old, especially with how much LAFC has been owning Seattle lately. Like, it's just great because they own Seattle. Like, they beat them in the playoffs last year, lost MLS Cup. They had like the best season of all time in 2019. They choked the Western Conference Championship to Seattle. They choked their
actually, the Sounders didn't play in the MLS Cup that year.
Or Western Conference Championship.
Yeah, they didn't. They didn't play.
That was 2019.
No, they didn't play. I don't think they played.
That's the year they won, bruh.
No, I don't. Oh, I was doing a 2020
You were doing
bit,
a
bro.
2020.
I'm sorry. This is. Oh God.
You're good.
Okay.
They choked Champions League in 2022 and now Leagues Cup in 2023. Like you mentioned, the only one that they won was the 2021 against the Philadelphia Union, which, fair play to them. They got the like, LAFC can't win a final monkey off their back.
Yeah.
But I mean, really, that's 4 out of 5 finals that they've been in as a club that they've choked.
Right.
They've choked, and that is funny.
It is hilarious,
It's hilarious.
objectively. Like
especially because the last 2 times it's against the Crew, who, I mean, they're just kind of. They're running the league right now. Cucho and Rossi, like I said, I mean, I think they're easily the best 1-2 punch in the league, all due respect to my agenda. I'm
not looking forward to playing them.
And frankly, like, I really feel strongly about this, Noah. If they hadn't gotten poisoned, they would have won Champions Cup.
You know,
I think they would have.
I don't want to agree with that just simply because I will never accept that was the reason. I can't.
I purvey that.
You purvey the poisoning story.
Yeah.
It is good lore. It is good lore.
I don't know if, like, I think I've been clear that I don't think I actually believe in it, but I'm still down to purvey it.
Yeah. Okay. You know what? I can co-sign that. Yeah. If they hadn't been poisoned, Ari, if they hadn't been
probably win that.
given a bad chicken leg, they would have won and probably banned like 20-0.
The Philly Union also. This was just so great. This is so funny. The Philly Union were playing in the 3rd place game
in front of nobody. Did you see that? There was like 4 fans
against the Colorado Rapids, who had. I mean, the Rapids had a great tournament.
Yeah, they did.
And they won 3rd place. And the Rapids are now going to Champions Cup.
Love that.
And the Philly Union are not. So you had both of the fumblers.
Yeah,
both fumbled their final Leagues Cup games. Just great content.
Incredible.
You can't script these things.
No.
You can't script these things.
You can, because we know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
We know what's going to happen.
Exactly.
If you're LAFC and you're in a final.
Was there any part of you that thought LAFC was going to win that? Like, I was pretty sure they were going to. Not even because of anything about LAFC. I just think the Crew are on their own level right now, especially playing at home. But like LAFC, they had Giroud out there. He even scored a goal.
Yeah.
And it didn't matter. Bouanga was held off the score sheet. And yet another choke job. I did want to debate one more thing on the Crew that I have written down here.
Let's do it.
Are they a dynasty? That's what some people are talking about.
No.
They won the COVID Cup, they won MLS Cup, and they won Leagues Cup. I think they either need
NCCL final, 2nd place.
But they didn't win it.
True.
Seattle is a dynasty because they won it.
Yeah.
I think if the Crew, if they had won that Champions Cup, then yes, unquestionably. Yeah. But because they didn't lose it, they need one more MLS Cup, a Champions Cup, or I guess another Leagues Cup, maybe.
Right.
And they need one more trophy, is my point.
Yeah,
one more,
fair.
one more, and then you're a dynasty. But they're definitely the standard of the league right now.
Yeah.
Like, the level that they're playing at, their roster build, their whole organization, like, they are without a doubt on top of the league at the moment. I don't think there's any question about that after this last game.
Yeah.
And Like they very much I think have a chance. Like if they win MLS Cup this year, then I'm gonna be like, okay, yeah, this is like a dynasty right now. Yeah,
I think there is an undeniable. I don't know even what to call it. There's some kind of undeniable evidence that would get them to be a dynasty, and I really do think that it was Champions League. Like I think if they would have won CCC, qualified for the Club World Cup and been in there, I genuinely think they probably could compete pretty well in that.
They probably would not do bad. Yeah,
and I think that did they get a spot in that because they won Leagues Cup?
Oh no, I don't think so.
I don't remember who's getting that because there's a host spot available, right?
Oh, okay. We'll have to look that up. But
but regardless, like I think
I'm pretty sure they don't go to Club World Cup. I feel like I would know that.
Yeah, I think you would too. But there is like, I just feel like they're almost there because people talked about Atlanta like this, and then 3 years later they were fucking dog shit. And I don't mean to hate. I just mean like, just let's give them maybe like 1 or 2 more years if they can. Honestly, yeah.
Atlanta didn't have multiple trophies.
That's true.
They only had the MLS Cup, and this team has. I mean, I'm counting the COVID Cup, I guess, even though that's not really the Wilfred Nancy era, but that is a cup that they've won in the last like era. So
right.
I don't know. We'll see. My official take on that is one more trophy. It just has to be a major one. So MLS Cup. Or maybe like if they win the Shield, I think frankly, like I just think they need one more.
Yeah,
I mean, they're close though. They are close, and that
would be a trio if they won Shield, Champions. No, what is it called? Fucking
Shield,
Leagues
Cup,
yeah,
and MLS Cup.
Is that a more impressive trio than Open Cup trio?
I mean, I think so, man.
Yeah.
Like because of the level of competition that you're playing, just. Plain and simple. But
so if they can do that, dynasty.
All right, let's preview this LAFC game real quick. We did a little bit in the questions segment, but we can get some more takes out here if you've got any.
Yeah.
I can't bring myself to like pick Seattle in this game just because the recent track record against LAFC is so one-sided. But like I was saying, like if there's any game where you could flip this, if there's any game, it's this game. You've got them coming off one of the toughest losses of the season. They're not going to be fully rested.
Nope.
There is literally, I don't think there's any chance that Giroud plays at all because not only would Steve C not have the courage to play him at Starfire to begin with, he tweaked his knee.
Yeah.
He tweaked his knee in the Leagues Cup
Did I
final.
not say he was going to explode his knee at Starfire? So it would be canon for him to play. And
they're not going to play him. So that's like, you don't even have to worry about that. Do you play Bouanga?
Dude, he can play it. That dude's fine. That dude's made of kryptonite. Like he can't. The only thing that can stop him is himself.
I think he might. I think Steve C might try and
super sub him. Yeah, I think
he's gonna like try and rotate it a little bit and bring Bouanga on like early mid second half. That's what I would do if I were him. I mean, he knows the fitness and health of his players obviously better than I do.
Right.
But I would be nervous. I would be nervous about putting him out there. Like we've seen, like remember when at the red card wedding when like everyone was blowing their hamstrings out and Oba never really like came back from that.
Yeah.
I
mean, and they have Kai Kamara, who I feel like I'm almost positive has played at Starfire before. Maybe I'm wrong, but he's played for every team in the goddamn league. So the percentage of chance that he's
like
played,
you start Kai Kamara here. I think
Christian Oliveira available?
He'll probably
he's still
play. Out. I doubt they play Lloris.
Yeah. Well, I think Oliveira's out injured still.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Okay.
Potentially.
Well, we'll see how they line it up.
Yeah.
But like the point is, even if that he does less rotation than we think, like their legs are probably not going to be fully there.
No.
And especially for a game that require like the level of endurance that you have to like hang with it in these Starfire games it's even more than your average professional soccer game. You know?
And you have to play Paul Rothrock, the Starfire merchant.
Exactly. There's a couple Starfire merchants that are probably going to be seeing the field for Seattle in this game. I think Andy T might be one of them. We all know what Andy T does in the Open Cup at Starfire. So, like, really, like I said, man, I'm not predicting that they're going to win because I'll believe Seattle can beat this LAFC team when I see it.
Yeah.
But the stars are aligned for them to have a chance. That's that's my optimistic view.
Do you think Pedro de la Vega plays?
Oh, I could maybe see him getting a little substitute cameo. Maybe they don't want to do it because they're worried about him getting injured on the less than ideal turf.
This would be the match for him to make an impact, though. This would be the match for him to cement the start of his legacy. Like, think about it. Injured, struggling, coming back, bamming when it means the most. It could be a storybook night for the kid.
It could be a storybook night. I would love to see him get some run and make an impact on the game. That would be great. But I don't know. How are you feeling going into this one?
Shit. I don't want to play LAFC again. I didn't want to play them last time. I didn't want to play them ever. I am not excited, even on short rest. We know what LAFC can do. We said the same thing the last time when they made the run to the Champions League, lost. We were like, oh, hangover, easy. And then the same squad rolled out like 4 days later that played in the final and just demolished a team. Like, I don't look forward to this match, but I also do at the same time because there is always just some shithousery that happens at Starfire. It's going to be packed. It's going to be a great environment. I love the Open Cup, so I'm going to be there for the vibes. I am hoping that we get a dub pod, but I am not holding my breath.
Yeah, but you know what is another factor that could play in Seattle's favor here is that, so I have this memory of the 2019 Western Conference Championship, which I've talked about a lot because it was a great night, best win in club history. But, I was pretty sure LAFC was going to win that game. That was the year they put up a plus 48 goal differential. Carlos Vela had 34 goals, 15 assists. Their team was insane that year. And and they were heavily favored in the game. I was pretty sure that LAFC was going to win. But I do remember feeling all the pressure is on them. Mm-hmm. And Seattle's got nothing to lose. Like they can just go out there and play free. And if they lose, no one's really going to think all that much of it. They were playing the greatest MLS team of all time at that point. And so there was no pressure on them in that game. And I still believe looking back on it that they played like it. Right. They played like they had nothing to lose. I think there's a lot to that sometimes. Mm-hmm. Like when no one expects you to win and you're playing like a juggernaut opponent that everyone thinks is going to wipe the floor with you and has gotten the better of you the last time you played, or in that case it was they had this historic season. Everyone thought they were unstoppable. Like, you can use that to your advantage and play stress-free, not have the pressure on you, and that can manifest in a good performance sometimes. I think that's a lot what happened in 2019, and I feel a similar vibe to this in the sense that there's a lot of pressure on LAFC in this game because they just bombed out of another tournament in the final, had a chance for another trophy, lost again, and now they're flipping around right back to another tournament where if they win, they go to another final. If they get knocked out of both of these tournaments in like a 4-day span, that's just not good vibes. That's not good vibes for the club. That's not good vibes for the fan base. So I would be a little nervous if I were them, especially coming into Starfire where that only 2 other MLS clubs have ever won in this tournament. I don't care how good you are. Like, that's still going to be a hard game. Yeah. So, I don't bring any of that up to say that Seattle's for sure going to win. I'm coming up with pathways to why they could win. And I honestly think there's something to that.
Yeah. I want to ask you too, just a little bit on the heels of this. Who do you want more? Sporting Kansas City, the Club of Professional Wrestling Enthusiasts, or Indy?
Indy, 100%.
Yeah, I think we would go to Indy.
I would probably go to Indy. Yeah.
Dude, we would be... Okay, here's the thing. Okay, here it is. If Indy wins, live pod at Indy.
I'm down.
Done. Okay, we just shook hands on that. Easy
they could
peasy.
Actually beat the Club of Professional Wrestling Enthusiasts.
They could. They did just lose to New Mexico United, though, so...
Well, New Mexico United's one of the best teams in the USL. So.
It's true.
All right, unless you had anything else on this Open Cup game, I was going to hit winners and losers, and then we can call it for episode 61. So that sound good? All right. Winners and losers from match day 29. Winners, I got the San Jose Earthquakes 2-0 win at Real Salt Lake.
Yeah, they bammed.
That's an unexpected result. But I bring this up for another reason, which is that RSL, they're not on full fraud watch yet. But they're on tentative fraud watch and what I mean by fraud watch in this case is just like I have been talking about them and they have been getting talked about like they are in the LAFC kind of Columbus in that tier more than they've been talked about in the second tier. Like a result like this, like 2-0 to the worst team in the league at home. I know it's MLS and like crazy results can happen all the time and all that, but they had a really bad Leagues Cup too. New Mexico United knocked them out of Open Cup. There's just
they lost to the Rapids,
and like they also have shown signs of like when Chicho is out, there's a huge drop off, like even more than most teams when they lose like their DPs. I'm just saying, like there's
fraud watch starting
tentative fraud. I'm not even going to say it's fully started yet, but it's like simmering.
Got it.
Simmering.
It's you've put the pot on the stove.
Next winner. I hate to do this, but LA Galaxy. Marco Royce.
Do you hate to?
Marco Royce debuted and guys, it was pretty electric. Goal and an assist in like 10 minutes.
That Ricky Puig goal was
so good,
nasty.
Man. So good. This is what I'm saying. Like this team plays the best ball, like some of the best ball in the league. Like when they're on, that goal is a perfect example. And Marco Royce set it up. Great finish by Ricky Puig. I mean, they only beat Atlanta United 2-0, but it could have been a lot worse. And this Royce thing is like not for novelty.
No.
You know, like God, like that debut, he was nasty with it.
Yeah.
And then I had the New England Revs just because they put a 5 spot on CF
that was wild.
Montreal at Montreal. So I don't know if that probably says more about Montreal than it does about the Revs, but it's still a really crooked scoreline. Losers, I got DC United, bottom of the Eastern Conference, bammed on by FC Dallas at home, 4-3. So tough for my boy Troy Lesane. I still think they should give him another year. I don't know if the DCU fans have him on the hot seat yet. I think it's a situation of the problem is the roster more than the coach.
Yeah.
I am admittedly biased towards Troy Lesane, but I want them to get an off season where they can retool and repower a little bit, and then see what Troy can do with like a better squad than this. Because really, like this DC team has just been like Benteke or bust.
Right. He had that heater where he was scoring like 4 headers a game.
And
they looked unstoppable.
Yeah, they looked really good in attack because he was bamming multiple times every game, but their defense has been a mess all year. Steve Birnbaum retired.
Yeah.
They're just they're down bad.
Yep.
Nashville SC, speaking of down bad, they lost 2-0 to Austin, who Austin are not that good. And Nashville SC, it's just like how the mighty have fallen. I mean, I guess they weren't really like ever that mighty, but Haney Mukhtar is not having like that great a year. This is a multiple it's like an MVP candidate every year. Is one MVP. And they don't have. They do have a coach now, BJ Callahan, but he just got in there, and
the USMNT bot's favorite.
Yeah, exactly. And they just have. It seems like they just have a really long way to go before they're back into legitimate contention.
Yeah, their roster doesn't look like that great either.
No, and like frankly, for a roster like that, Gary Smith is like not a bad coach. He can kind of he's like a little like got that Benny O DC United era ball in it, like about him, like where he can have you punching above your weight. And maybe this is kind of a random take, but maybe Gary Smith didn't get enough credit.
I mean, I think people were puzzled when he got fired a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I got it because it felt like it had run its course and gotten like stale a little bit. I guess like they were never going to ascend
right
with him as the coach, but it like he gave them like a floor that they were able to play at that it seems like they just don't have anymore. And then Atlanta United, my last loser. I don't know how much I follow them really closely because
you're
of
a certified
Schadenfreude.
Atlanta hater.
I'm basically like I pay to sub to like the AJC and Five Stripe Final and everything, and so I'm a big time Atlanta United content.
We do like
consumer.
5 Stripe Final.
Yeah, Five Stripe Final is great. You should sub to them, but they're like basically tanking right now. Like they sold Almada and Giacomakis, so they like that's their two main attacking DPs, centerpieces that were gone. They brought in this new DP from Russia who he seems good, but it's like this is the thing. This is like kind of my thing when people are so sure they want to move off of Rusnak. The guy that there's no guarantees with the replacements.
Right.
And like it's like basically 50-50 unless you are like super sure that your replacement is better. You got to be real sure. Otherwise, like you're in this situation like that Atlanta's in where they're bringing this guy in. They have to integrate him with the team, which is its like full process. You never know how guys are going to acclimate to the league. It's just you're leaving a lot up to chance.
Yeah.
So maybe I'm being too risk averse on the Rusnak stuff. And like if honestly, if you find someone who's better and you know for sure that he's going to be better, then move off him and sign the replacement.
Right.
I just think that is a riskier game than people will give it credit for.
Yeah.
Like I've seen a lot of these situations where the new DP replacement comes in and doesn't hit, and that can really mess you up for a long time. So like it's not always as simple as we think that. I think we can find like a bigger name or a guy who's going to produce at a higher rate than this guy, and they're guaranteed to just like slide right in and immediately give you elite production. The way I think of it, if you have a guy who's pushing 20 assists across all comps like Rusnak, and he's not like 35, you're better served to keep riding that than you are of taking the risk of like finding a new guy who you don't know. And I think this Marinchuk guy, that's his name for Atlanta United, like they're in a situation where it's going to take a long time before they even know if it's the right guy. And what are the percentage odds that it really is that guy? What are the percentage odds that he's even better than Almada? I don't think that high. Almada was really goddamn good. So,
I'm not willing to make any assertions or assumptions off of 29 minutes of play, frankly.
It's not about judging how he played in his first game. It's about like how likely do you think it is that he is going to be an elite level DP in the league? And my point is that you just don't know. He could.
Fair. That's fair. You don't know.
He definitely could. I'm just saying it's definitely not a given.
Right.
It is not a given.
I mean, that's soccer, right? Like doesn't matter what league you're in. Sometimes people play, like you could have a Premier League player. Oh God, now I'm going to blank on his name, but the guy who plays like insane in the Euros, then comes home and plays terrible.
Oh, Shaqiri.
Yeah, Shaqiri. Okay, thank you. It's like, you have like a Shaqiri, right? Like that dude doesn't care about his club team at all. Like wherever he goes is a scam. But you just never know. But I honestly think I trust Garth a lot more than I think most people do.
That's fair.
Like
That's
I
fair.
think
He should like this is Garth's opportunity to like really cook there, which he has not gotten an opportunity
and
to
like,
do.
dude, they blew it up. They blew it up and they dropped bags of cash. Like I'm excited to I want to see what they do. I'm going to give them a little run before I hate on them. It's going to suck. If you put together a fucking ragtag group, it's going to suck. They sucked before they had these new signings. So it's not going to just immediately change.
I'm not
like Nico. I think people like don't appreciate how insane it was that Nico came here and then immediately started balling and this team like turned around.
I think that might have given some Seattle fans like a skewed like it's like you just like you need a new number 10, you just go out and buy him and you plug him in and he's hyper elite for 5 years. That I'm like that's just not normally how it goes.
Yeah.
Now like I said, like this Atlanta guy, like he could come in and be the best number 10 in the league, in which case, like, fair play and great for Atlanta. You never have like full certainty with these things. So anyway,
I also think
that
it's
was
a good
kind of
bit.
a tangent on Rusnak.
Yeah.
But I think that sort of explains like how I think of it, and that my hesitation of moving off a guy who's producing like he is, when you don't know for a fact that the replacement is going to be able to replicate or exceed that.
Yeah, it's also a good bit that he came from Atalanta to Atlanta. That's just a good transfer bit, I think. Like
that we didn't talk about that, but that was pretty funny. I think that's why they picked him.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, that was it. Yeah.
All right. Unless you got anything else, I think we can call that a wrap for episode 61.
SounderHeart.com/LS.
Go to sounderheart.com/LS.
One
Just
of you.
one of you. One. Thank you as always to everyone for tuning in. We love you guys. We love our paid subs. We love all
our
of
listeners,
you who
period.
just listen. Yeah, like we look at the listenership numbers and we love what we're seeing week after
And
week.
clearly Ari reads your comments.
Appreciate you all. Unfortunately, I do read the YouTube comments, so yeah, like honestly, I can't help myself. So if you want to clown on me and you put it in the YouTube comment section, I will see it. But in all seriousness, on that note, like thank you to our little YouTube community that we're fostering. We appreciate you guys too.
We love you
and
guys.
We're looking forward to just further establishing ourselves on there, and these video podcasts that we've been putting up there, the viewership's been pretty good. So much love to our new audience. Rate, comment, subscribe, like, follow,
Share
all
with
platforms, share with everyone that
Mira
you know, share with your Atlanta United friends. Shout out to our LAFC friends.
Yeah.
Hopefully you're not too pissed at us this week. Until next time, we out.
Peace.